Welcome to the Tiffany Mika podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it. Those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and leave them in your wake. And the bonus is others will notice. Listen up and take notes because I will show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, Tiff here. Welcome to the Tiffany Mika podcast. So awesome to have you here. I'm going to pose a question to you. Did you know that what you think you are, you're right? You've probably heard this before from me. You've probably heard it before from many, many people as how you think of what you are right. So if you think you are no good, if you think you are useless, if you think you are a waste of space, if you think you're a tryhard, if you think you're a wannabe, if you think you're a nothing, if you think that you're not worthy, if you think that you're never going to be good enough, you are right. That's what you are, because that's what you say you are. So if we look at it from a sports perspective, if you think from your sport, like soccer, for example, football, you can never kick a goal. Well, yep, you're right, because that's what you believe. If you think from a tennis point of view, you can't hit a winner down the line. Yep, you're right. That's what you believe. You believe you can't hit a winner down the right line. So when you don't hit it down the line, the guest seat tells you can't hit it down the line. All right. If you think that in golf, you can't hit the ball over the water. Yep, you're right. You can't hit it over the water because that's what you tell yourself. So what happens when you get to the water? You hit it in the water and you go, see, told you can't hit in the water. Same with the soccer goal. See, told you can't kick a goal. In high jump, and you believe that you can't jump high enough to get over the bar. Yep, that's right. That's because that's what you believe. You can't do it. You can't jump high enough to get over the bar. Or you believe in kickboxing, you can't get enough strength in your round kick to produce what you need to do in your round kick. Yep, you're right. You can't do it. So when it doesn't work, you go, yep, see, I told you. Right? So you can keep saying those things over and over again, and all you're doing is you're justifying what your thought process is. Now, you can say it's negative thought process, for sure. That's what it is. You're being negative. But that's where your mindset is. That's what you're thinking about. That's what you believe. That's what your belief is right now. It becomes your belief. It is your belief. Because if you keep saying, can't hit a winner down the line, can't get the ball over the water, can't hit the ball out of the bunker, can't jump high enough to get over the bar, can't kick a goal, I'm weak, I'm useless, I'm never going to get there. Yep. Your belief, that's what you believe, it's your truth, then you can justify that happening because when that happens, you go, see, told you it doesn't work. I know, I've been there. I was there many times with my tennis. Many, many times with my tennis. See, told you you're not good enough, told you you'll never make it. So you can't even beat, this person and you train harder than them. Told you you're not going to beat them. You justify it all the time. Told you can't do it. Even when I was learning to play golf. I remember when I was learning to play golf when I was about 34. And I kept saying to myself, oh, you're a tennis player trying to be a golfer. That's how I felt. I felt like I was a tennis player trying to be a golfer. And it was really interesting because years later I heard through the grapevine, because, sometimes you work in environments that are not very good for you. They can be toxic environments. And one particular club that I worked at was quite a toxic club. I didn't like the environment that it was in. Mind you, my headspace was not very good either, so I had a toxic headspace myself. But years later, I remember hearing at that place through the grapevine that, oh yeah, Tiff's a tennis player trying to be a golf coach. And I couldn't believe that they would say that. I thought, oh, tennis player trying to be a golf coach. But when I look back at now, because when I was preparing for this episode, when I wrote it out, I went, oh, well, of course that came up. Because that's what I believed then. That was my truth then, was that I was a tennis player trying to be a golfer. I don't feel like that now. I know I'm a golfer. But at the time, and I teach golf, of course, but at the time I felt like that's what I was, because I couldn't see it yet. I couldn't feel it yet. So I thought I was a wannabe. But you'll never make it, Tiff, anyway. So, why are you trying? That was the thought process, even then, when I was learning to play golf, because I still had those demons from tennis. If you've been listening to episodes that I've shared with you over the last few years, you'll know that, I've working through that. This is not about me. This is me sharing stories with you because I want you to accomplish what you're working towards. So what you want to think about here is what you believe is what you believe. So whatever your thought process is. I've got friends, outside of sport that talk about this, that, and the other, and that's what their belief is. Now, if I listen to their stories just go off onto tangents, and they make stuff up to make them, they makes them feel better. They create stories about this person's probably thinking this. That person's probably not thinking that at all. But that's what they believe. That's what happens in your mind. I've got a colleague that I'm chasing down who's not replying to any of my messages right now. It's frustrating. Now, you could go down the thought process of, what have I done wrong? Oh, he probably doesn't want me to work with him anymore, all of this sort of thing. You could. Could be the fact that he's really busy and that he's, takes him a while to get back to you. And he's not, he's not really good in business sense. He's got very good at what he does in teaching, but he's not very good from a business point of view, right? So you could let the stories go on and on and on. So the point here is what your thoughts are that you have. You put them out into the world. You put them out into the universe, as I put it. So you think that what you think is a private thought. And actually, you know what? It's not a private thought, because it's actually how you think, and it's what you put out into the universe of what you think. You don't have to say it. You can just think it. That is what you will attract. And what you attract is what you think. So if you've got people in your life that are not supportive of you, we'll take your parents out of the equation, by the way. If you feel that your parents are not supportive of you, or husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, we'll just take that out of the equation. But other people that are in your life, if they're not supportive of you, it's highly likely because you are not supportive of you. Because I want you to be thinking about this way, is you attract what you think. So then the question comes to you is, how do you want to think? Because the universe is always going to be listening to you. So I want you to really be thinking about that. And it was really interesting. I found this really fascinating because when I turned, if you've been listening to me for a while, I turned 50 last year, and I had a bit of a meltdown about turning 50 because I still think I'm 20. I still feel like I'm 20. I've got a lot of experience under the belt. I feel like I'm just getting started. I wish I was 20 again, in the sense of all these things that I could accomplish, but I can still do it now, right? Even though it's, 30 years later, it's not that far. It's a blink of an eye. You will get it when you get to my age. If you're older, you'll understand it, but it happens so quickly. So I had a meltdown about turning 50 and a reevaluation about what life is all about. All right, so the meltdown is really about reevaluating what was going on in life and what I wanted to have in my life and so on. And I was listening to this program, I was working through this program to help me change how I was feeling, because I was feeling disappointed, felt like I'd let myself down, hadn't accomplished all the things I wanted to accomplish leading up to turning 50. So I went through a program and I listened to it, and it was talking about this exact same thing, is what you think, what your thoughts are. It's not what you say, because you don't have to say it. It's what you think. It's what you put out in the universe. So the universe is always listening to you. And I was like, oh my goodness, the universe is listening to everything that I say, and it's bringing it back to me. And at that time, all I saw was disappointment and failure. And I thought, I don't want to look at my life that way anymore, because I've accomplished some awesome things in my life, and I didn't want to look at it that way anymore. So it was a real eye-opener to be aware that what I'm putting out there, in the sense of what I'm thinking, it's coming back to me. Even though I'd accomplished some great things, I still felt failure and disappointment because of what I was putting out there. So this is a really cool exercise, what we're going to work on. I didn't get it from this program. I actually got it from a lady, which I'll share with you very shortly, which was a really cool thing. I've applied it to other things, but we're going to apply it to this today. So it's I think it's pretty cool. I think it will really help you. So if you're really struggling with the thoughts that are going on in your mind right now, especially the ones where you don't feel like you're good enough, you're justifying that you're never going to make it, all of this kind of stuff, even though deep down you really want to, but your belief is telling you that you can't do it. I want you to work through this exercise, because I want to hear how this helps you. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of paper. I don't want you to get a diary or a journal or anything. I want a piece of paper, because we need this sheet to be separate. And what I want you to do here is I want you to write down all the thoughts that you say that are not helping you. All those thoughts that are, we could say, negative thoughts that you're putting out into the universe, that you're thinking. You don't have to say them, but you're still thinking them. Write them all out on this sheet of paper. You may need a few sheets of paper. Doesn't matter how many sheets of paper you need. I want you to write them all out. So here's some examples. I'm not good enough. I'm hopeless. I suck. I can't throw. I can't kick. I can't run. I can't learn. I can't do anything new. I'm hopeless. Whatever the thoughts are. I'll never be good enough. I'll never make it. I'm slow. Right. Whatever it is. Okay. I'm fat. I'm ugly. Blah, blah, blah. All of that. I want you to put everything that you can possibly think down that you feel that's holding you back. Now, once you've done that, what I want you to then do is fold it up, and I want you to put it in the freezer. Oh, that's interesting. Putting it in the freezer. I'm not saying that you have to rewrite these thoughts or anything like that. All I want you to do is just put it in the freezer. And I got this great idea from a lovely lady, Kerry. I'll just say her first name, Kerry, who I used to teach golf to when we were in Hawaii, and we had some discrepancies happen on this golf tour in Hawaii where some people were being quite unpleasant, and it was making us feel inadequate, uncomfortable. The dynamics of the tour was very difficult and so on. But it was only a few people. Sometimes it's a few people that make everything bad, but we're allowing that to happen. So what she suggested, and that was a thing that she learnt years ago, was to write that person's name down and put them in the freezer. And I thought, how cool is that? You could write their name down, put them in the freezer, leave them in Hawaii, right? They're never to be seen again. So when I was putting this episode together, I thought, well, so when I was putting this episode together, I thought this will be a really good activity for you to do, because I've got a really good friend of mine. Her mum passed away last week, and I grew up with her. We went to school together, and we've been friends for over 30 years. So I think it's about 32 years now, 33 years or so. We've been really good friends. I'm godmother of her 3 children. And she's really going through a process of anger. And I said, well, all these things that you want to say to, there's a person that's really upsetting her at the moment who's making her feel very angry. And I said, well, rather than lashing out at this person, because I said, you're not in the right frame of mind right now to do that. And I said, they're in the same situation you are, so they're probably going to lash out at you as well. So we don't want that to happen, because I said, neither of you are prepared for this at the moment. So I said, why don't you just write down how you're feeling about this person and stick it in the freezer? And she's like, oh, that's a great idea, because she was struggling with sleeping as well. So I said, just stick it in the freezer, however you feel, stick it in the freezer. And if that thought comes to your mind, go, oh, no, that's put away in the freezer. I don't need to deal with that right now. And she rang me the next day and she said, oh, gee, I slept so much better. I felt more at peace. And the whole idea is to get some things out of your head. So that's what we're going to do here. So when you write all these things down and you put it in the freezer and you're out doing whatever your normal regime is of the day, or you're out practicing, or you're out competing, or you're out training, or you're going to school, or you're going to work, or whatever it is you're doing, and this thought comes into your mind, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm never going to get there. Oh, gee, I'm so slow. Oh, just can't learn anything. I can't throw, whatever that thought is, okay, or a series of thoughts that come up. What I want you to then acknowledge is go, oh, you know what? I've put that in the freezer. I've put that away. And what I want you to do is go, yep, that's in the freezer. Now I'm going to let that go and move on. You don't have to think, oh, no, I've got to think positive thoughts. I've got to think positive thoughts. Just let it go. Don't analyze it. Don't get caught up in it. Just let it go so you can then move on. And sometimes doing different strategies like this really helps. Because, like I said, you may not be ready yet to shift into positive words. That's okay. That's all okay if you're not ready to shift into positive words yet. But what if we could make that first step in changing how you think with such a nice simple strategy of putting it in the freezer? So those thoughts that come up for you, go, oh no, I've put that in the freezer. I'm going to let go of that. And then you can move on. It's a good mental strategy, good simple strategy to help you let go, help you move forward, so that you can continue on your path, what you're doing. You may even find that over time, that shift will happen and you go, oh, and then you start thinking differently as well. And we can work on that in the future. But that's what I want you to do for this exercise. Try it out, see how you go with it. Keep adding to it if you need to. Put it in the freezer, and then we'll work on a way of what we'll deal with, whether we'll have to ever deal with those things that have been put in the freezer, or we can leave them in the freezer forever. Up to you. But I look forward to hearing how this worked for you. So I'd love it if you could leave a comment down below what you liked and what you thought was the best thing that you heard in today's episode, because I was really excited about putting this one together for you. If you've got friends that you know that would benefit from these episodes, please share these with your friends, because we want to build the Reach Your Potential with Tiff community as big as we possibly can. And always do this. Dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Take care. Talk soon. Before you go, do you want to build confidence, belief, strength, and courage in you to go after your big dreams in your life and in your sport? If you do, go to www.tiffany-mika.com and get a copy of my book, Focus, How to Reach Your Potential in Sport, Business and Life. I look forward to seeing you there. Dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams.